Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving into a stack of material all focused on mastering your money.
Hmm.
We're going to unpack, how to truly understand where it all goes, how to take control, and ultimately build a more secure financial future.
Yeah, there's some really practical advice in here. Frameworks, too.
There really is. Our goal here is to pull out the most important nuggets from all this for you, give you a clear path to understanding, and hopefully taking action with your finances.
That's right. And it's important to remember this isn't just about, cutting back everything. It's more about making informed choices.
Informed decisions, exactly. For a better quality of life, really, giving you that understanding and control.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's kick things off with that first really crucial step this material highlights, understanding your expenses.
The foundation.
Absolutely. It stresses this is the foundation for any solid financial plan. It's less about just the income number
Right.
and much more about seeing the patterns, where that money actually flows out.
And what's interesting is how often it's the small things,
Yeah.
the seemingly tiny expenses that just add up.
They really do. Most people kind of know their big bills, rent, mortgage.
Yeah, the obvious stuff. But the details, that's where the surprises often are.
And we saw that example in the material with Jane, right? She thought she was doing okay covering the big things.
Mhm.
But then she actually looked, really analyzed her bank statements.
And had that aha.
Exactly. Her daily coffee habit, nearly $150 a month. Just like that.
Wow.
And that realization, that was powerful. It immediately changed how she saw those little everyday choices.
That kind of detailed understanding is absolutely key. And this material lays out some pretty straightforward ways to get there, to uncover those habits.
Like what?
Well, you can start simple. Just review your bank and credit card statements, go back maybe 3 months,
Okay.
and the goal is to categorize everything. Is it essential or is it non-essential?
Essential versus non-essential. That's the main filter.
Right. And, if digging through statements isn't your thing, the material mentioned tools,
Mm-hmm.
apps like Mint or YNB.
Oh, yeah, those can connect to your accounts, right? Automate some of the categorizing.
Exactly. Makes it a bit easier. But on the flip side, for just pure awareness, sometimes keeping a simple spending journal for, say, a month,
Just writing it down.
yeah, it can really shine a light on those small, almost trivial purchases you might totally forget otherwise.
Makes sense. So once you've identified where it's going, what's next?
Categorizing. That's the next critical step, according to this material. Putting things into broader buckets helps you see the big picture.
Okay, like what kind of buckets?
Well, you've got your fixed expenses. These are the predictable ones each month, right? Rent or mortgage, subscriptions, loan payments, stuff that doesn't really change much.
Got it. The constant.
Then variable expenses. These fluctuate. Groceries, dining out, entertainment. It depends on the month. And finally, discretionary expenses. This is sort of the wants category. Luxuries, non-essential shopping, hobbies.
Right.
Things that add enjoyment but aren't, strictly necessary for survival.
Right. And this isn't just a one-time thing, is it?
No, definitely not. The material really stresses that uncovering and categorizing is an ongoing process. It's about self-assessment, reflection, seeing what truly adds value versus what's just, well, a habit you might not even realize you have.
Okay, so you figure out where the money has gone. The logical next step seems to be planning where you want it to go. The budget?
The monthly plan.
Now, I know the word budget can sometimes feel a bit restrictive, like punishment almost.
It has that reputation, doesn't it?
Yeah, but this material reframes it really nicely. It's not about limitation. It's framed as empowerment, spending intentionally, saving effectively.
Exactly. It's a tool for control, not restriction.
Yeah.
That mindset shift is so important.
So how does this material suggest building this plan?
Well, the practical steps are laid out pretty clearly. First, you need a really precise handle on your total income. Every bit of it, salary, bonuses, any side gigs.
Okay, total income.
Then, list out all your expenses comprehensively, using those categories we just talked about, fixed, variable, discretionary.
Right.
But importantly, this material says to include savings and investments right there as expenses. Treat them like bills you have to pay.
Paying yourself first. So, retirement contributions, emergency fund savings, list them like rent.
Pretty much. Make them non-negotiable contributions to your future.
That makes sense.
And this is where budgeting models can help structure things. The material introduces a couple. There's zero-based budgeting.
Where every dollar gets a job.
Exactly. You allocate every single dollar until income minus expenses equals zero. Really forces you to prioritize.
Okay.
It also mentions the 50-30-20 rule. Allocating 50% of your income to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt.
We'll dig into that one more later, I think.
Yeah, we'll circle back to the techniques, but it's introduced here as a possible structure, a target to aim for maybe.
So, calculate income, list expenses, maybe use a framework. What else?
Analyze and adjust. This is vital. The material hammers this home. At the end of each month, you have to review.
See how you actually did against the plan.
Right. Did you stick to it? Where did you overspend? Why? That analysis is what lets you make smart adjustments for the next month.
It's the feedback loop.
Precisely. And finally, make sure the budget actually aligns with your realistic financial goals. If you're saving for a down payment, for example, that needs to be actively reflected in your budget priorities.
Yeah, the material even had that simple table example, didn't it? Showing estimated versus actual for things like rent, groceries, entertainment.
And that difference column.
That's the key, right? It shows you exactly where the plan went off track, where you need to focus.
Exactly. It turns tracking from just looking at data into actively managing it.
Okay, so you've got a handle on the flow, you've got a budget framework. Now, giving the money a mission, setting goals.
Yes, defining your financial destination. This material says setting clear financial goals is absolutely critical. It's the motivation, the why behind all the tracking and budgeting.
Keeps you on track long term.
Definitely. And the material makes a useful distinction between short-term and long-term goals. Both are important.
Okay, so short-term goals are?
Things you want to achieve within, say, 1 to 2 years. They're often a bit easier to hit, which is great for building momentum.
Like saving for a vacation or building that initial emergency fund.
Exactly. Getting that first chunk of emergency savings, maybe 3-6 months of expenses, or paying off credit cards, buying furniture, those kinds of things.
Quick wins.
Right. And the material shared Mark's story. He wanted to save $2,000 for a vacation.
Yeah.
By breaking it down monthly and consciously cutting things, like his daily takeout coffee.
The coffee again.
It always comes back to the coffee. But he hit his goal and learned about prioritizing, the impact of small choices. That's motivating.
Those small victories definitely build confidence. Okay, so then long-term goals.
These are the bigger picture items. Things that take several years, require more sustained effort, saving for retirement, obviously, buying a home, funding kids' education, maybe starting a business.
The major milestones.
Exactly. And to make these goals less vague and more actionable, the material brings in the SMART criteria.
SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable.
Relevant and time-bound, yes.
So instead of just, I want to save money, you make it.
Specific. Save $50,000 for a house down payment. Measurable. Save $1,000 per month. Achievable. Is that actually realistic given your income and expenses?
Right.
Relevant. Does buying a house align with your overall life plan? And time-bound. Give it a deadline, like buy a house in 5 years.
That framework makes it much more concrete.
It does. And what the material really shows is that combining those motivating short-term wins with that clear long-term vision creates a much more balanced and, frankly, sustainable path to financial freedom.
Okay, so you've got your SMART goals. How do you actually turn those into action, like realistic savings targets?
Right, connecting goals to action. This section builds directly on understanding your income and expense patterns from earlier. You need that data to figure out what's actually possible.
Makes sense.
So, first step, determine your monthly net income, your take-home pay after taxes and deductions. Nail that number down.
Okay, net income. Check.
Then, revisit your monthly expenses using your budget. This is where you actively look for areas to cut back or optimize. Where can you free up cash specifically for saving towards those goals?
Find the wiggle room.
Find the wiggle room, exactly. Based on that, you establish a desired savings rate. Now, this varies hugely person to person.
But is there a benchmark?
The material highlights a common target, aiming to save at least 20% of your income.
20%.
Yeah, and there was a simple table showing. If your net income is $4,000 a month, a 20% rate means aiming for $800 in savings each month. Makes it very clear.
That concrete number helps. $800 a month feels more manageable than, say, $9,600 a year.
Absolutely. And breaking it down further helps too. Setting incremental goals. That $9,600 annual target becomes $800 monthly, or maybe $2,400 quarterly. Smaller milestones keep you focused.
Less daunting.
Much less. And a really critical piece emphasized here is reviewing and adjusting periodically. Life happens, right?
Yeah, unexpected expenses, increment changes.
Exactly. So you need to be flexible, be willing to adapt your savings targets or even the goals themselves sometimes to stay on track overall without getting discouraged.
We read about Lisa, didn't we? Saving for her down payment.
Yes, her goal was $15,000 over 3 years. She analyzed her budget, found she could comfortably save $400 a month.
And added some side hustle income.
Right, committed to that extra income stream. And she put it in a high-yield savings account to get a little extra boost from interest. Her big takeaway was about balancing that ambitious goal with what was actually realistic for her situation, finding that sweet spot.
And the visual tracker idea.
Oh yeah, that's a great motivator mentioned in the material. A simple table, month, savings goal for the month, amount actually saved, and the running total.
Seeing that total climb.
Exactly. It's incredibly reinforcing. Helps keep you disciplined.
All right, so we've covered understanding the flow, budgeting, setting goals, creating targets. Let's get really practical now. The how. Specific budgeting techniques.
Yes, digging into the methods this material explores for getting that clarity and control.
And one we touched on earlier was the 50-30-20 rule.
Right. This material details it further. It's presented as, well, remarkably simple, but really quite powerful for dividing up your net income.
So remind us of the split again.
Okay, 50% goes to needs, your absolute essentials. Rent or mortgage, utilities, basic groceries, necessary insurance, transport to work, the must-haves.
Half your take-home pay for essentials. Okay.
Then, 30% goes to wants. This is the discretionary stuff. Adds to your quality of life, but isn't strictly essential. Dining out, streaming, travel, hobbies, entertainment.
The fun stuff.
Pretty much. And crucially, the last 20% goes to savings and debt repayment.
This is building the future.
Exactly. Contributions to savings accounts, emergency fund, retirement, or making extra payments on debt, like credit cards or student loans.
And the material shared Sarah's story with this.
Yeah, it was a good example. Single mother, passionate about budgeting, but felt her money wasn't quite going where she intended.
What happened when she applied the rule?
She realized she was way overspending on wants and barely saving anything. By consciously reallocating based on 50-30-20, she actually managed to save for her child's education.
Wow.
And she found she could still afford occasional local trips without feeling guilty because it fit within her planned wants budget.
That's the power of intentionality. So how do you implement it practically?
Calculate your net income first. Then categorize all your expenses into needs, wants, or savings debt.
See where you stand currently.
Right. Then adjust. If you're spending, say, 40% on wants, you need to find ways to trim that down to 30%.
And then track it monthly.
Monitor and reassess monthly. Stay on track. The table based on Sarah's $3,000 net income, $1,500 needs, $900 wants, $600 savings debt. Really visualize that allocation clearly.
Makes sense. What other techniques were mentioned?
A very different approach, much more hands-on, is the envelope budgeting method.
Ah, the cash envelopes.
Exactly. This can be really impactful, especially if you're just starting out or you just prefer something tangible, something physical.
So how does that work, step by step?
Okay, you start by picking specific categories where you tend to overspend or want really strict control. Common ones are groceries, entertainment, dining out, maybe clothing.
Areas where it's easy to lose track with a card?
Precisely. Then you decide on a specific budget amount for the month for each of those categories. Say $400 for groceries, $200 for entertainment, $150 for dining out.
And then you actually withdraw that cash.
You got it. Beginning of the month, withdraw the total cash needed for those categories. Put the specific amount into separate physical envelopes, clearly labeled.
Okay.
And the rule is super simple, but strict. You only spend the cash that's physically inside that specific envelope for that specific category.
So if the dining out envelope is empty halfway through the month...
That's it. No more dining out until next month's cash goes in.
Yeah.
Or you have to pull from another envelope, which means less for that category. It forces trade-offs.
I can see how that would make you think twice.
It really does. The material mentioned Tom, who struggled with dining out overspending. Swiping the card felt too easy.
Yeah.
Switching to the cash envelope just for that category made him incredibly conscious of every choice. Envelope empty. Cook at home or wait. Simple as that.
That physical limit is powerful. But what about, well, everything being cashless these days?
That's a valid challenge, and the material acknowledges it. It suggests maybe a hybrid approach. You could still use cash for certain trouble categories, or use budgeting apps that let you set really strict, ring-fenced digital envelopes
Hmm.
or spending limits for specific categories.
Mimic the system digitally.
Yeah. And like any method, you need to reassess those categories and announce monthly. Your spending needs might change.
The summary table for the envelope method in the material.
Right, that showed how you track it. Category, starting amount, amount spent, remainder. Seeing that remainder shrink is very direct feedback.
So whether it's the percentages of 50, 30, 20 or the cash control of envelopes,
Okay.
the point is having a system.
Exactly. Actively using a technique gives you significant control and helps you actually reach those goals.
Hmm.
Different methods suit different people, different situations. Find what clicks for you.
Okay, so building on these techniques, the next logical step is actively reducing expenses, right? Finding room in the budget.
Absolutely. This material highlights how cutting costs directly impacts your financial health.
Hmm.
It frees up money you can then push towards savings or paying down debt faster.
It's about being proactive, looking for those savings opportunities.
For sure. And the material gives several really practical approaches. First up, tackle those automatic subscriptions.
Oh, the silent budget killers.
Yeah. Go through your statements. Are you really using all those streaming services, app memberships, gym subs? The advice is blunt. Review and cancel the unused ones ruthlessly.
Good advice.
And check out family plans. Things like Spotify, Netflix. You can save a lot per person if you can share an account.
Smart. What else? Groceries?
Big one. Shop smart, plan ahead. Meal planning for the week seriously cuts down on impulse buys. Make a list based on your plan. Stick to it.
No browsing the aisles hungry?
Definitely not.
Hey.
And look for sales like BOGO offers, but only if it's something you actually need and will definitely use. Don't buy extra just because it's on sale.
Makes sense. What about bills? Can you actually lower those?
Sometimes. The material suggests negotiating. Call your internet provider, cable company, insurance folks. Just ask for a discount.
Really? Just ask.
Yeah. Mentioning competitor pricing, asking about loyalty discounts. It can work surprisingly often. Or see if bundling services saves money. Worth a shot.
Okay. Dining out?
Limiting it is usually a big win. Cooking at home is almost always cheaper, often healthier too. Even just setting a strict weekly budget for dining out helps you stay conscious.
And utilities. Lights, water?
Yeah, simple stuff adds up.
Yeah.
Switching to LED bulbs, unplugging electronics that have that vampire drain, using a programmable thermostat
Mm-hmm.
for water, shorter showers, fixing leaks, running full dishwasher laundry
It
load.
changes.
Small changes. Remember Sarah from the material moving into her first apartment?
Yeah.
She consciously focused on these things, switching off lights, choosing efficient appliances when she could, and cut her utility bills by nearly 20%.
Wow, 20%.
Yeah. And that saving let her boost her savings goal and afford an extra guilt-free night out sometimes. It shows those small adjustments really can yield significant results.
Okay, so cutting costs is one side. But the material also talked about saving on essentials, right? Things you have to buy.
Exactly. It's not just about cutting luxuries. It's about being smarter with necessary purchases too.
Like using coupons? Is that still a thing?
It is, both print and digital. Plus loyalty programs and those cashback apps the material mentioned, Rakuten, Ibotta.
Where you get money back on regular purchases.
Yeah, just for scanning a receipt or clicking through their site first. It adds up over time on things you were buying anyway.
Interesting. What about buying in bulk?
Can be smart, if you're careful. Stocking up on non-perishables, household items.
Sure.
If you have space and will use it all before it expires, the cost per unit can be lower. But don't buy a giant tub of something you'll get sick of.
Exactly.
The material even mentioned co-op buying, teaming up with friends or family to share bulk purchases.
Ah, okay. And generics versus brand names.
Definitely worth considering. For many things, snacks, cleaning supplies, basic medications, store brands often have the same ingredients, same quality, just a lower price tag. Compare the labels.
Good tip. What about bigger essentials, like insurance?
Huge potential savings area.
Okay.
Regularly review your policies. Health, car, home, renters. Could you raise your deductible slightly to lower the premium? Shop around for, quotes, periodically, loyalty doesn't always pay. Reevaluate if your coverage needs have changed.
Don't just auto-renew without thinking.
Never auto-renew without thinking. Also, vehicle maintenance. Routine checks are way cheaper than major repairs. And things like carpooling save on fuel wear and tear.
And timing purchases.
Yeah, being strategic, buying things during sales cycles, holidays, clearance events, or seasonally like buying winter coats at the end of winter for next year. Big discounts often available if you plan ahead.
That savings snapshot table in the material really brought this home.
It did. Showing the category, the original cost, the savings method used, the new cost, and the total monthly savings. seeing the difference between the old total and the new total after applying these strategies.
It makes you realize how much control you actually have, even on essentials.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that mindset of thriftiness, of intentionality with every dollar you spend. These seemingly small adjustments really do accumulate.
Okay, so we've covered the foundations, understanding spending, budgeting, goals, targets, techniques, cutting costs, saving smartly. What brings it all together for a sustainable plan?
It comes down to two final crucial elements according to this material.
Yeah.
Actively growing your wealth for the future and protecting yourself against life's inevitable curveballs.
Building for the future. Let's start with growing wealth investing. This material made it sound less intimidating than people might think.
Very much so. It positions investing not as some exclusive club, but as a crucial activity for anyone serious about accumulating wealth long term. It's essentially using your money to buy assets, things that are likely to increase in value or provide income over time.
Okay, but where do you even start? The investment world seems vast.
It can feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
but the material breaks down some fundamental asset classes to understand. You've got stocks.
Shares in companies. Higher potential return, but more risk.
Generally, yes. Then bonds, basically loans you make to companies or governments. They usually offer regular interest payments and are typically seen as safer, lower risk than stocks.
Okay.
Real estate owning property. Could be rentals for income or buying and selling for appreciation. And then especially good for beginners are mutual funds and ETFs.
Exchange traded funds.
Right. These pool money from lots of people to buy a wide variety of stocks or bonds. So you get instant diversification without having to pick individual ones yourself.
Diversification. That seemed really important in the material.
Absolutely critical. Spreading your money across different types of assets, different sectors, it reduces your overall risk. If one area tanks, your whole portfolio isn't wiped out.
And rebalancing. Checking it periodically.
Yeah, the material suggests reviewing your mix, maybe twice a year, and adjusting back to your target allocation if things have drifted too far.
But the biggest takeaway on investing seemed to be patience.
Patience and the power of compounding interest. That's the real magic highlighted. The example used was powerful. Investing $5,000. If it earns an average of 7% per year,
Over 30 years.
it could grow to around $38,000. That's not just interest on the initial $5K, but earning interest on itself year after year. It snowballs.
That exponential growth is incredible. And Emily's story.
Yeah, her insight was great. Starting young, investing just $200 a month in a diversified index fund consistently.
And just letting it grow.
Letting compounding do its work over years and years. It became a major part of financing her future goals, simply through that discipline and patience. Long-term focus is key.
Okay, growing wealth is vital. But what about protection? The safety net.
The emergency fund. No sustainable plan is complete without it, according to this material. It's absolutely critical.
This is the buffer against the unexpected, right?
Yeah.
Job loss, medical bills, car blowing up.
Exactly. It's a dedicated savings account, separate from investments, specifically for those unforeseen emergencies. Its whole purpose is to stop you from having to raid your long-term investments or go into debt when bad stuff happens.
Peace of mind, essentially.
A huge amount of peace of mind. Now, how much? The general guideline presented is aiming for 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses.
Housing, utilities, food, basic transport, the must-pays.
Right. And the material wisely notes this isn't one size fits all. If your income is less stable, maybe you're freelance or commission-based, you might want a larger cushion, closer to that 6-month mark, or even more, just for comfort.
Makes sense. How do you build it up? Especially if that 3 to 6 month number feels huge.
Start small. That's key advice. If the full amount is intimidating, aim for an initial goal of $1,000 first. Get that win, then build from there.
Break it down.
Break it down and automate it. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your emergency savings account every payday. Treat it just like paying a bill.
Make it non-negotiable.
Exactly. And keep the funds somewhere safe, easily accessible, but ideally earning some interest. A high-yield savings account or a money market account works well. Needs to be liquid.
Liquid, but not too tempting to dip into for non-emergencies.
That's the crucial rule stressed in the material. Use it only for genuine emergencies, not planned stuff like vacations or new furniture. That defeats the purpose.
And if you do have to use it?
Replenish it. Make rebuilding that fund back to its target level a top priority as soon as you can. Get that safety net back in place.
That emergency fund plan table example was helpful too.
Yeah, laying out your essential monthly expenses, totaling them, and then seeing the target amounts for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It makes the goal really concrete, actionable.
Got it. So, long-term growth through investing, short-term security through the emergency fund. Those are the final pillars.
They really are. According to this material, they're what builds true financial resilience and
Yeah.
facilitates that long-term success and peace of mind.
Wow. Okay. We have really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, drawing from all this material. We started right at the beginning, understanding spending habits, building a budget,
Then setting clear goals, realistic savings targets,
explored techniques like 50-30-20, the envelope method, found ways to cut costs, save on essentials.
and finished by looking at growing wealth through investing and securing that vital safety net, the emergency fund.
The core message that seems to run through all of this material is pretty empowering, actually. It's that mastering your money, building financial health, it's not just for people who already have a lot.
Not at all. It's genuinely within reach for anyone willing to, define their objectives, really understand where their money is going, and then follow a structured, intentional path. It boils down to informed decisions and conscious control.
So, maybe a final thought to leave everyone with, inspired by this material, financial peace, building that secure future. Maybe it isn't just about how much you make. Maybe it's much more about how thoughtfully, how intentionally you use what you have. How could embracing some of these principles we've discussed change your relationship with money? How could it help you move beyond just surviving to actually thriving and really enhancing your quality of life?